Hi, welcome everyone. Today I'll be telling you a little about the future. And often when we're thinking about the future, we think about our children, but statistically and demographically, that's really incorrect, and you'll learn today why. First of all, I would actually really like to know where everyone's from. We have an international crowd. I think Matt is from England, I may presume.
Yeah.
Great. Any people outside of Europe? Anyone outside of Europe? Everyone is inside of Europe. Southern European countries? Italy, Spain, someone? No one's from southern? Where?
I'm from Turkey.
Turkey, there you go. That's a great country. I love Turkey. Curaçao, that's outside of Europe. Thank you. No, so anyone want to share where they're from? I'm actually really curious. So why am I curious? Less than 24 hours ago, this was my view. And now actually comparing that to the rainy Dutch weather, I had to share this picture with you. So I was in Venice for a couple of days. I love Venice. And the issue we're going to talk about today is actually very present in Venice too, because the city actually only thrives on tourism nowadays, and the only old people that are left there are literally just left there. There's not much to do, and that's something we're going to talk about. So not children, but the elderly are the future. The elderly are the biggest growing population, not only in Italy, not only in the Netherlands, but all around the world, and mainly in Western Europe. It is prognosed to double over the next 20 years. And this is actually a overview of the pyramid of the Dutch population. This is just after the Second World War. You can see the spike here. This is the baby boom. Everyone was very happy that the war was ended. And you see that it actually has only grown over the years with one small dip. This is when anti-conception was introduced. Which obviously had an impact. And this is where we are at now. So this is the demographic pyramid of the Dutch population. And you see that from the age of, say, 60, 65, it slowly progresses down. But if you actually look at how it will be looking like in the future, there you go. You see that the pyramid is only growing on the top side. So we will have a lot of elderly, and hitting 2060, we have a measurable group of people over 100 years old. And that can be contributed to a couple of reasons. So the birth rate has been dropping steadily ever since the Second World War. Obviously improvements in healthcare, but also in nutrition, has made it possible to actually grow older and healthier. However, there's one very big thing that is still an issue, and is actually a growing issue because the group is growing so exponentially, and that is loneliness. More than half of people over 55 are lonely in the Netherlands. That's 1 in 11. That are actually severely lonely, and with severely lonely we actually mean that you're either depressed or feel that you're in real social isolation and you do not leave your home. Those are severe numbers. So in the Netherlands only, the Netherlands has about 17 million people. 500,000 people are severely lonely. It also increases with age. Loneliness increases when you get older, because of mostly obvious reasons. People you love around you pass, etc. People aged over 85 have a very strongly increased feeling of loneliness. Over 36%, over 63%. I don't like numbers, I'm sorry. Over 63%, and it is even worse with widowers, divorcees, and singles. Currently, in the Netherlands only, there are over 1 million lonely elderly people, which are only going to grow in the coming years, as we saw in the pyramid. So very serious case that could use some help. So who am I? I have studied neuroscience, I have studied information studies at the University of Utrecht in Amsterdam. I've also done some research at the University of Florida, and I'm really interested in human behavior and the human behavior with its environment. And that's how I eventually got to Hack the Planet. So Hack the Planet, you heard more about, we try to make impact, we try to pick up cases internationally and also nationally that make a difference. And we also just heard about virtual reality, that it can make a great impact, that it's not just a gimmick. Most people know virtual reality just as a gimmick for gaming, for fun stuff, but it's actually been used for many relevant topics, such as Meet the Soldier, but also for topics such as balance training for the elderly. So using a Wii Fit, maybe you still remember the Wii Fit, you could walk on it, you could serve on it, but it was also used for balance trainings for the elderly, but also for preventing falls. There are virtual reality games that actually teach the elderly what is dangerous and what is not, and how you can prevent falling, and even if you fall, how you can fall best, so you prevent breaking a hip. And of course, battling loneliness. That's what we are trying today with a project called Ageless VR. So Ageless VR is a mobile platform that we developed here at Q42, and it aims to lower social thresholds that the elderly possibly have and help them get out of social isolation. So I actually have a set right here. It's just a Google Daydream View, which is this VR set with a mobile phone, and on that mobile phone we have all kinds of VR content, VR videos, and it actually is linked to the work phone of people working in the elderly care, nurses, etc. And it's just a simple app with videos. You can just point and click. This one is actually made in Venice. A beautiful experience of a gondola ride in Venice. And you can have either a shared experience, which is meant to work as an icebreaker, and the shared experience you can do with multiple elderly at the same time, or the home experience, which is more aimed to lower thresholds the elderly may have. So yeah, the shared content can be anything from diving in deep sea, or a trip to the Maldives, a safari through Africa, or a gondola tour in Venice, which I didn't do because it was 90 euros for 20 minutes. The effects of it were actually really amazing to see. When people were actually presented with the videos together with people they didn't even know, they really bloomed up, they really enjoyed it, something activated, memories got triggered, and the elderly that were often very silent and didn't talk much at all, actually really came to life after the VR experience, and that was actually really cool to see and witness too. Now we have the home content. So the home content is more towards how we use content, like how we use a scootmobile. When you get picked up by the neighborhood cab, how that would work. Care home activities, how do they look like? We're also looking at new videos, for example, that are culturally sensitive. So if you're actually from abroad, like Turkey, and you've lived here all your life, but you do have the sense of missing home, we're also making VR experiences to battle that. So that's the difference between the home and the shared experience. And it actually is making a change. So I have been researching this for a couple of months now, and I really see that people actually bloom up after the experience. People are very enthusiastic and very happy when they get transported into a whole new, different area or a old experience, which is absolutely amazing to see. They bloom up. They actually smile when it's gloomy, like the weather today. So it's actually really impactful. Also, after talking with ambassadors and people of the industry itself, they really do believe that this can make a change for the elderly that are in social isolation, and that's something very positive to see, and we really do hope that we can broaden this project because it's currently only in The Hague, and we would love to actually expand it. And I would actually really appreciate it if you could all take out your smartphones. If you're on an iPhone, you can just scan the QR code with your normal camera, and you would go to the same place. Otherwise, you could go to algehaley.com, and I would absolutely appreciate it if you could take just 1 minute of your time to fill in a very short questionnaire answering what you think of this project, maybe what kind of content you would prefer, and yeah, anything you'd like to add, I would really appreciate that. It's a very short, it's just like literally one question and your age, that's all I actually ask. So I really appreciate that. And thank you all for being here, and I hope you have a great day and a great culture festival this year. Thank you.